Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Holly Randall Unfiltered. My guest today grew up as a preacher's kid and now is a rising star in the industry. In the last few years, she's dealt with a rare and serious health issue, which she has faced head on with an amazing perspective and outlook on life. And I am so excited to talk to her about all of these things and so much more. Let's welcome the beautiful Scarlett Alexis.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you are here as well. And I'm so excited that I get to stare at your beautiful boobs.
I wore this dress just for you.
Oh my God, thank God. I'm actually going to pay attention to my guest today. Or maybe not. I won't be listening to anything that you say. We were talking earlier before you came on, like I was saying to her, how does it feel to be one of God's favorites and just like have perfect boobs? But the thing about Scarlett is that she has like a good, like, as far as I'm concerned, like a great size. They're not huge, and not that there's anything wrong with huge boobs. They're fantastic. But as a woman, I can empathize with the fact that girls with really big boobs have a hard time finding clothes to wear.
Yeah.
Like they're very limited in what they can wear.
Yeah.
And I feel like you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Thank you. I do feel very grateful.
Yeah. I mean, are there clothes that you like can't wear because you have like...
I would say the only annoying thing about my tits being natural is in bikinis, like micro bikinis, I get the spillage. And when I wear pasties at like festivals, they usually like they slide off, they come off. Whereas I feel like fake tits they're more solid. So, you know, there's less like spillage and, you know, things like that.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's definitely some outfits that were like made for fake boobs because they're almost like a bra in themselves.
Exactly.
That they hold them up and then like, natural boobs, they just kind of ooze out of the, and sometimes not in a flattering way.
Exactly. Yeah. You're also like in missionary, I try to, you know, kind of put my arms because it's just like, you know, flat. Like,
yes. Wait till you get to my age and you have a kid, you could like throw them over your shoulder. Very sad. Okay. So, well, let's talk about the beginning and how you got into this industry. And actually your life before, because, you know, interestingly enough, you grew up as a preacher's kid.
I did.
So how was that?
It was very unusual, I would say. I had a very unusual childhood. My parents, they're preachers. They're how do I say this? They're kind of zealots, I guess. It's almost like mystical Christianity.
Okay.
Kind of a little like kind of televangelism a little bit and like Pentecostal.
Okay.
So like speaking in tongues and all and like miracles.
Do they do the snake thing?
The snake thing?
Yeah.
What's the snake thing?
The snake, you know, they like have snakes and then like if they handle them and then they don't
snakes.
bite you.
I probably would have liked that actually. No, I think they think of snakes as like demonic creatures, but I tell them I used to have a snake and I'm like, but God made them. So like there isn't really like a demonic animal in my mind.
Well, technically, didn't God make Lucifer too? And he was an angel and he like fell from grace.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, so unusual childhood. I traveled a lot. I was homeschooled because my parents wanted to shield me from the world. And I really gave it a shot, like because I was raised in it. I was Christian. I was on like the worship team and everything. That was like
team.
Yeah, the band in the beginning of church. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
sounds like like it's a team. Like you have like a contest, like who can worship like the most. Okay, but this is like a singing.
Gotcha. Church band.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I gave it a real shot, and then in my teens, I always had a lot of questions. I was always a very curious person, and my questions were never really met with answers I was like happy with, I guess. And also just asking too many questions is kind of looked down upon too. So I finally realized that I didn't go the atheist route, which most people who have religious trauma, they end up going that route. I'd seen enough and experienced enough that I feel like, you know, there's a spirit world, there's things out there, but I just know for me, it's not Christianity. And there's actually a Stoic philosopher, I want to say it's Seneca. I forget the exact quote, but he basically says, like every religion has its own merit in its own way because every man has to get to heaven in their own way. And I really liked that point of view. So, Yeah, I think, if you can find any way to connect with the divine, I think that's a beautiful thing. But Christianity just wasn't for me.
What about Christianity didn't work for you?
I feel like in the Bible, there's a lot of shame, or just more so the religion as a whole. I think maybe Jesus's message of love, I think like that's really good. But you go like Old Testament versus New Testament, and there's just like a lot of and in religion, just like self-hatred and shame of just like, you have to be like, I'm just like a horrible, like, scum of the earth, like piece of shit. And I need Jesus to like forgive my sins and like, get into heaven, where I think in a way we're all, I don't want to say gods, but in a way, like I feel like we're connected to everything in the universe, and whatever the spark that everything is made out of, I think we all have that inside of us. So I think unlocking shame is a really important thing to do. And I think there's just so much shame in our culture. So that I wasn't down with. And then also just the timeline of things. There's so many questions of like, okay, how did everyone who was born before Jesus was alive, do they all go to hell? Because like, how does that work? So there was just always so many questions. And then also I think I'm just like a little bit more open-minded, where I don't believe there's only one way to get into heaven.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the main thing that made me realize I'm not Christian.
So I was raised atheist,
Okay.
like 100%.
Yeah.
And I could never understand the idea that you're just like, you start off as a bad person.
Exactly.
Like that's so bizarre to me.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend the rest of your life making up for the sins of somebody else that automatically translates to you.
Right. It's
Like,
really confusing.
It's very weird.
Yeah. And then even some of the things that are considered a sin in the Old Testament, it's like, wearing clothes that aren't like 100% cotton, or like having like mixed fabrics and things like that. And I'm just like, it makes it really impossible to be perfect. And I think when I was Christian, I always felt like I wasn't good enough. I'm always striving for this thing that's unattainable, and just like so much guilt. And I think that that's really harmful to us as a species and a psychology, to think of ourselves in such a negative way.
Yeah. I mean, there seems to be so many strange mixed messages in the Bible.
Yeah.
And for me, I see a lot of like just this opportunity to control people and to have power. But then I also see like these messages of like love and like forgiveness. And I feel like you could take certain things out of it and, like live your life by that. But then overall, the church doesn't want you to. They want you to go a very specific way. But I guess that's why there's so many different factions of the church, right?
Yeah, there's different kinds. And then there's like Catholicism, which is entirely different too.
Yeah.
So there's different like streams, I guess, of, But yeah, I was just like, it's not for me. And it was hard for my family to come to terms with that. I have 2 other siblings. None of us really ended up following in their steps of the faith. But yeah, it is what it is.
So it's funny. I went to my nephew's birthday party the other day, and my husband didn't go because he wasn't feeling well. And so my mother-in-law cornered me, and she's very Catholic, and she was like, You're not in the church, right? I'm like, no, I'm not. And my husband is also like, he was raised Catholic. He was an altar boy, but he is like none of those things anymore. He's like, doesn't follow the church, very like anti-religious. Like, and so she's like, so you're not like taking your daughter to the church? I'm like, no. She's like, so you're not like teaching her the Bible? I'm like, no. And she was just like giving me like kind of a lot of shit. And like, she was like, okay, so you're not teaching her about Jesus Christ? I'm like, no, I'm not.
You're like, this is awkward.
I mean, I actually love her, and we get along really well because there's nothing that she says that ever affects me. Like I'm very good at like stuff just rolling off my back. So it was funny because she was definitely like disappointed that I wasn't like, taking my daughter to church and she wasn't baptized and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tricky. It's weird to me how some religious people, they'll be like, oh, if it wasn't for Jesus or this, like I'd be a horrible person. Like, and I'm like, why? Like, that's concerning to me. Like, some people, they can't understand having any kind of moral compass without having religion.
So what are your beliefs now? You said that it sounds like you still believe in heaven.
I don't believe in like heaven per se.
Okay.
I feel like it's one of those things like we don't really know exactly what's out there, but I feel like I believe that there's like different dimensions to reality, and I'm really fascinated by consciousness. So I feel like, I've experienced like altered states of consciousness in different ways, and like this past year I got into breath work, and that was really interesting to be like, oh wow, I feel like I'm on like shrooms or something, and I'm, totally sober. And then, like dreams, and I don't want to sound like schizophrenic, but I feel like I've experienced things where it almost feels like I'm seeing like visions or feeling like premonitions and things like that. So I believe that I'm kind of interested in panpsychism, which is basically the belief that like reality is a result of consciousness. I think that like everything is connected, and that we, like different individuals, like this whole world, basically, it's we're all like facets of a whole, and we're split into different people and different places so that the universe can experience itself, is kind of like what I believe, if that makes sense.
Not really. So,
Okay.
but I'm so curious to
Yeah.
know like what that means. Okay, so pan consciousness. So, can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
I believe that like the whole earth, the whole universe and everything, all of us people, I believe in like a spirit and a soul, I guess. So I guess what I'm saying is I believe that everything that exists, like nature, us, we all have like that spark in us. That is consciousness, I guess. And I believe that like before this all existed, it was all one, I guess. And in order for consciousness to experience itself, like for instance, you look at a lake. And I was in Europe recently, and I was looking at how beautiful the lake was, and I was thinking about how like the water doesn't get to like see itself like what I'm seeing, because it's just water. So it's if that makes sense. So it's like in order for, and then we have water inside of our body. So in order for like in order for
The water.
to experience itself, it would have to be separated from itself to look at itself.
Okay,
if
so
that
like the
makes
water like experiences itself like through you.
sense. Exactly.
Because we're all connected.
Exactly. So then we're experiencing the world, and I believe we're all like part of the world. It's like when, I look at the sun, it's I'm struggling.
No, I get it, because actually I believe that we are all connected as well.
Okay.
Like almost everybody knows I'm sober, and I went through the 12-step program, and one of like the big parts of that is like finding higher power, right?
Yeah.
Which was a huge struggle for me because, like I said, I was raised atheist.
Yeah.
So, even the word God was very troublesome for me, because that for me was connected to religion, which I felt was a way to control and manipulate people. And I really hated that word. So that was really hard for me. And of course, the idea in Alcoholics Anonymous is that it's like, that's just a word. Like it just, it can be like whatever understanding it is for you, whatever makes sense for you. It's just the idea that like the world is about more than just you.
Yeah.
You're not isolated and you're not alone.
Yeah.
And like, you're not like, there's something else out there.
Yeah.
That is like supporting you if you let that in.
Right.
Right. Like let it help guide you.
For sure.
Like, we all know that like when you put out certain energy, it feeds back into you, right? Like the law of attraction.
Absolutely.
So for me, I believe that it's like the connectiveness of the human experience.
Yeah.
Because you see like we all know the horrible things that people do to each other, right?
Yeah.
We see that in the news all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But what's incredible is the amazing things that people do for each other in times of crisis.
That's so true.
You see like these hurricanes and these horrible natural disasters, and the things that people will do for complete strangers.
Yeah.
And that's like when you see the real humanity come out in people.
For sure.
And that's when you see this connection that we have, right? And even like things that humans will do for like other animals. And so for me, I believe that like God, quote unquote, shows up in other people.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And everybody's a lesson.
Yeah,
Even the terrible people that show up in your life.
totally.
Everybody's a lesson.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the world that way, then like everything that you go through is like a blessing.
For sure. And I think it adds a lot more meaning to life
Yes.
too. And you become less of a victim. It's less of like things are happening to me. And then it becomes more of like, okay, there's a lesson here. And until you learn that lesson, like life will just keep throwing things at you.
100%.
Yeah. And you're like, why does this keep happening?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, it's waiting for you to figure out what you're supposed to learn.
Yes.
In that. Yeah.
That is like, I agree with that so much.
Yeah.
Because that is, I think we can probably, if we all like really sit down and like unpack our problems and look at those things and take accountability for what we do, which most people don't ever do. You see that like the same problem, you know, people will be like, oh God, why do I keep dating the same kind of guy who cheats on me and treats me like shit? Well,
keep letting that.
You keep picking that guy.
Yeah.
Why do you keep picking that guy? Exactly. You know, and then you find out that like there is some void in you that you're trying to fill. There's something like
or a core belief about yourself.
Yes.
I feel like that's a lot of times what it is, and it can be hard to like really sit down, like to be so honest with yourself. And then of course like we lie to ourselves too, and when you can get past that and be like, okay, deep down, like this is what I really think about myself, and like that's why I'm making these life choices. I really like Carl Jung, like I like studying psychology, and he has that great quote. I'm trying to remember verbatim, but he basically says like, until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll rule your life and you'll call it fate.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
Another thing before we move on and talk about porn, I swear it's like 20 minutes in.
What kind of philosophy podcast is this?
Spiritual? Is this a religious podcast? What the fuck did I tune into? Sorry. But what you said about everything like being connected and, like the water experiencing itself like through you reminded me of my dad. And before he died, so like I said, like I was raised atheist. My father was like staunch atheist, right? Very much a man of science, but he believed in like the beauty of the universe, right? And I remember because he had Parkinson's and his health was degrading, so like he knew like the end was coming. And I had a conversation with him, and I asked him if he was afraid of death. And he told me that he wasn't.
Oh, wow.
And he believed that when we die, we just become we just go back into the universe. Like he's like, our lives are just a little blip on the timeline of eternity.
That's so true.
And we're just this little speck in the universe. And we almost kind of don't matter.
Yeah.
And we go back into the universe, and we go back into the earth and the sky and the stars. And he's like, and I think that that's beautiful.
That's so beautiful.
Which I loved, but I was like, wait, what do you mean I'm a blip on the timeline of eternity? I'm like, I want to be like a large part, like, you know what I mean? Like, but I think about it, and it was really great that he could be happy with the idea that he was a small, tiny part of this huge, universe, this whole workings of this machine that we call, I don't know, time, life. Yeah. And he didn't need to be like the center stage of it. He didn't need to be this big part of it.
Yeah.
He was just grateful that he got like
that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I have like this great fear of death, and I'm just like, I want to be the star, and I don't ever want to die.
You want to make your mark. You want to be remembered.
I just don't want to die. I just don't want, like the idea of non-existence is like terrifying to me.
Yeah, that is kind of scary. I feel like the past year, I never like, I've kind of I might think that maybe reincarnation exists. It's never something that I had necessarily like felt alignment with before. But for me, like I kind of like the idea of like past lives. And that like every lifetime I think this is kind of has some Hindu or Buddhist kind of background to it, but like in your life, you're you're supposed to be like the most yourself, and you learn different lessons.
Right.
And I think like if you don't learn all of your lessons, then maybe you reincarnate and then you try it again until like you reach a point where you don't reincarnate anymore.
Right.
And then I think kind of like what your dad's saying, you just like become part of the universe, or just like consciousness, whatever that is, in whatever plane of existence. Because I think existence has like many layers. Even what I love science too. And what I love about science is like it shows just how magical the world really is. I don't think that science takes away from seeing the world as like an incredibly magical place. If anything, it just shows like, oh, there's so much we don't know. Mm-hmm. And then also just like, what is all of this?
Yeah. I mean, evolution is a fucking crazy thing if you think about it.
Yeah.
We've been playing this game where I've been doing a guessing game with animals, with my daughter. And so she's been learning a lot about like different animals. And we were teaching her about animals that like can camouflage, right? Oh, yeah. And like sea creatures that can like change their color and stuff like that. And like that, like if you think about that, that is wild. Insane. That this animal developed over time to learn how to change its color.
It's insane.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's, that is science, and that is magical.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I believe that 100%. I've talked with some friends recently about the idea of like some people are like NPCs, where they just feel like they like don't have any thoughts. And I feel like maybe, and I don't know if this is like a narcissistic point of view, but I feel like, there are certain people who like ask deeper questions in life and things like that and contemplate things. And then there's people who kind of don't. And I feel like that might be like an evolutionary thing of consciousness. Like maybe we start out as NPCs and then like we have a chance to like evolve in a way, like consciously, but that was just a thought.
But also are NPCs like perhaps happier people because they aren't plagued by those deep thoughts late at night where they're just like, what is non-existence? What's the point of life? They're just like, wow, that was a really good round of Jeopardy. I'm going to go to bed and go to work tomorrow. And then I'm going to looking forward to lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Sometimes like a simpler life is like, I mean, generally really intelligent people tend to be like very depressed.
I think that's true. I do also think that like the most beautiful things in life come with like you can't experience to the depths that you experience pain is to the depths that you experience beauty. Yeah. I really do believe that. So I think to have a rich life, you kind of have to embrace the pain sometimes. Yeah. I'm a big like advocator of that, of like not running away from it. It's like love is a great example. There's so many people who are like too scared to have feelings or to get involved with anyone because they don't want to get hurt. And if you live your life that way, you're going to miss out on all of the most beautiful experiences. Yeah. So, I think also pain fuels art too. There's no like amazing artist that's made an impact on the world who's just like, super happy-go-lucky. Like, so I think it's just part of being human. And I think we should embrace like the full spectrum of that and not like only highlight the good parts.
I agree. And like the low parts are what makes the high parts so much better because, the difference is what makes you appreciate.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think like every painful experience, you're like losing people, things like that, depending on how painful it is, just shows like how significant something was in your life. Right. Yeah. So I feel like a perspective shift is like, you kind of are lucky that you even get to experience this pain.
Yeah, like how lucky you were to have loved that person or thing so much that you feel that grief to lose them.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a commercial break and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about porn. How old were you, Scarlett, when you realized that you wanted to explore your sexuality?
As far as, what do you mean exactly? Like
you did not grow up in a sexually open environment. Right. Right. So like when did you start to get curious about sex?
I've always been very open-minded sexually. So when I was one of my like more serious relationships before porn, and this is the same guy I was with when I started porn too, he was like very open-minded. So I was, exploring like group things, I was doing anal, things like that. And actually before him, when I was 19 is when I realized I was bi. So all of my friends knew before me. I feel like that's like a classic story. There was just so much repression that it would come out in ways where I was sexualizing women all the time, basically, like a fuckboy. And my friends would make fun of me and be like, "You're so gay." And I thought it was a joke. I was like, "Yeah, I'm so gay." And then I finally realized, I was like, wait, I think maybe I am. And so I like came out and like was exploring women from the age of 19. My first kiss ever in kindergarten was actually a girl. Aww. Yeah, Ma'ev. I remember we were at school and I was like, my mom and daddy told me it's bad to kiss on the lips. And then she kissed me.
You know, what's so weird is when I was growing up, I don't know, probably under 10 for sure, but like definitely older than 6, maybe 8. Mm-hmm. I used to like fantasize about women a lot. And I thought that I liked women. Yeah. And I was really into that idea. And then I grew out of it and I'm totally not into chicks. I don't know. It was really strange.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like sexuality is such a fluid thing. Yeah. You know, it's a spectrum, as I like to say. Yeah. So yeah, that's funny how that happens. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've always been turned on by the female body. Mm-hmm.
I think it's beautiful, obviously. Yeah. Like there's nothing that I would rather photograph than the female body. And like, I love looking at it.
It just doesn't make you horny.
But it doesn't make me horny. Like I love looking at your boobs because aesthetically they're gorgeous. I'm not but like my panties are very dry.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're straight right now. Who knows? Maybe it'll change again.
Who knows? I'm probably menopause is around the corner and I hear your hormones change. I don't know. Anything's possible. So now you said that you happened upon porn. So how did that happen?
So I never was like, I'm going to do porn one day. It never really crossed my mind. I was working at an art gallery before and like teaching children private piano lessons. And I was kind of in the lifestyle with my boyfriend at the time. Mm-hmm. So
the swinger lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. So more like hot wifing, even though I wasn't a wife, but just like, that kind of thing. Not really parties, more like just like
swapping.
Yeah. Having people over, I guess. But, so through doing that, I met a guy who was in the industry, and this is in Arizona. And he was like, "Oh, have you ever thought of like, doing porn? Like you seem like you'd be perfect for it." And I thought about it and I was like, that actually would be like really cool experience. I want to try it. And I did come to terms with the fact like, okay, if I do this, obviously it's going to alter the course of my life and like just everything that comes with it, but I wanted to do it. So I did it. And I went into expecting everyone to find out, and of course they did. But I loved it so much. It was really fun. It was like a great experience. So I did like 5 scenes with this one company in Arizona. And then like 3 months later, I quit my gallery job and I was commuting. I would travel to, LA and Vegas for about a year. And then after that year, my ex and I broke up and then I moved to LA.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now your first scene was anal, is that right?
It was anal, yeah.
Did you know at the time that was a very intense way to kick off your career?
I had no idea.
And your second scene was a DP.
It was a DP, yeah. Yeah, actually, it's so funny. Alex Mack was in that DP, and we're like really good friends now. Yeah. And it's just like hilarious to think of the journey. But I wasn't I was watching amateur porn mostly. Mm-hmm. The only other porn star I really was familiar with was Owen Gray. Okay. So I didn't know anything about like how people have their porn careers or save things for later. Yeah. And all that. I had no idea. What they did is they asked me, do you do anal? Do you do DPs? Do you do this? And I just thought, yeah, I do those things. Mm-hmm. So then I did it.
Now that you know what you know, do you like regret starting off with anal?
I definitely would have. I would have done it differently. Yeah. I would have made a big deal about it because I see how it works with other people's careers. They're getting like awards and like all these things for like my first this. And I'm like, I've been doing it the whole time, but it's just not but it is what like it happened. So I'm like, well, I'll embrace it. Like, I do think it's kind of like sick too, to be like, I started with anal day one. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of cool. Just like logistically not the best career.
Yeah. I mean, Sasha Grey, her first scene, I think, was an orgy.
I think that's really cool to be like, starting, kicking doors down, starting strong. Yeah. I think that's a cool way to do it. I just wish we were awarded better for doing
marketing
that.
Wise, you would have done it differently.
Yeah.
So when you started porn, what was the most surprising thing for you? Like, what was the one thing that you didn't expect?
I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest, going into it. I guess I didn't expect it to feel more like a movie set, like having a whole crew and like a director. I love it. I love working with people where the directors, like, they really like take it seriously, you know, and they have like, you know, a vision and they're like giving you cues and everything. You know, it's entertainment. It's another like form of expression. And so it's a fun medium to like capture that in. And then it's nice to know just like how testing is, you know, how, you know, everyone is tested every 2 weeks. That's a really great part of it too. I think most people don't know about that. And so it's nice to know that this is like a safe, controlled environment to do all of these things. So I guess that's what I didn't expect.
What is something about the adult industry that you would like to change if you could?
I think people in porn should be like people who really want to be in porn and really care about it. I think, you know, a lot of people end up in this industry for whatever reasons. Like, we're all come from so many different walks of life. But I think it is something that just really does alter your life. And it's like with any job, it's more fun when people are like, who enjoy their job, basically. So I think that aside from that, I feel like, yeah, I mean, it seems like everything's changing with like OnlyFans and things like that, where studio work is, I guess, from what I'm hearing, like dying down and things like that. So who knows, like how that'll change. I think it would be nice if the performers had like, I have friends who are like shocked, like they don't realize that like we don't get like a percentage of like the revenue residuals that our scenes make. I'm like, that would be cool if we got that. So I guess that's what I would hope would change, but I don't feel like it will.
Yeah. I want to talk about your health journey because you've really been through a lot over the years. You've mentioned dealing with seizures and mini strokes for years before you knew what was going on. So what was your road to your diagnosis like?
Yeah. So, I had seizures since I was a teenager, and my parents never took me to the doctor for it. And even when like I ended up getting diagnosed, they just like wanted to pray it away type of thing. So it wasn't until I was about to turn 20. Yeah. I had a really bad seizure and I was living with my boyfriend at the time.
Was it a grand mal seizure?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was freaked out. It was his first time seeing someone have a seizure. He thought I was like possessed because all of a sudden, like we're just cooking dinner. And then, you know, I'm like my eyes wide and just making these weird noises and like flailing on the floor. So he was like, you have to get this checked out.
It's so scary.
Yeah. And it was so weird because when you're having a seizure, you don't know you're having a seizure, like as far as like what's happening. So when I was having that particular seizure, I felt like it's almost like you're dreaming. Like I felt like I lived a whole other life and I was a whole other person and I was like in China and it was really weird. And then I like, and then I came back and only like, you know, a couple minutes passed or whatever it was. And then I was like, why is he like crying? Like, what's going on? Like, why? Like, I was like, I feel like normal. And he was like, no, you have to get checked out. And for a week after, every time I've had a seizure, I feel a lot of people say that it almost feels like some kind of spiritual experience too. Like I don't feel very tethered to my body. I always have like insane dreams and just kind of feel like out of it. Like,
are they full body seizures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, I finally go get checked out. I get brain scans, EEGs, whatever, everything. And I get diagnosed the day before my 20th birthday. And they tell me I have moya moya, which is a rare brain disease. So basically one of the main arteries in the left side of my brain is collapsed. So in the scans, there's like a huge portion that just like doesn't get blood flow. So because of that, all these tiny blood vessels are trying to make up for the lack of blood flow, but they're very like, they're taxed, like they're taking on too much. So they're at risk of bursting and aneurysms and strokes and things like that. So they were like, you have to get brain surgery. And my parents, they were trying to talk me out of it because they were like, we'll just pray for you. So I ended up waiting 3 months, partially because I was also really scared to have my head cut open. So I was like, okay, I'll wait 3 months. You can pray and everything. But it was really serious. They were like, at any point you could have like a potentially fatal stroke. Like it's like really serious. They're like, you really need to get it. So I had the surgery. I was at a really good facility in Arizona, Barrows, and it was scary. They're like, you could like potentially you could wake up and forget how to speak. Like just, so much can go wrong. So I was terrified. But I did the surgery and it went really well. It was successful. Now there's no known cure for this disease. So all it does is mitigate I did a bypass surgery to help alleviate, the pressure on the other blood vessels, but there's no known cure. So it just helps the symptoms. So it reduces my chance of like stroking out and seizing and things like that. But it's also a progressive disease. So I have to get like regular checkups every few years and see if it progresses on the other side or, whatever it is. So far, my last few checkups, everything has been good. But I was really depressed after my diagnosis, and just the surgery was the most debilitating experience to go through. So I was really depressed after, and it was kind of a horrible way to start your 20s, just coming to terms with, okay, now I have this thing that's like lifelong that I have to live with. I felt like, at any point my brain could just like go against me and I could just poof,
Yeah.
So it was really hard. And then I have like flare-ups sometimes where I call it my bad brain days, where I'm like really foggy, or there's like a lag in like my processing, or I get really lightheaded. Like I'm really sensitive to the heat. And it's really scary for me when I have those flare-ups, because I don't know if that means I'm going to like have an episode soon, or like a stroke or a seizure, or if it just passes and everything's fine. So it can be really tricky, but it also makes any surgery where I have to be under anesthesia becomes a high risk. So like with I feel like I'm jumping around, but when I had my tumor removal surgery for my breasts, that's usually like a very like low risk surgery, but I had to get my brain checked out to make sure like it was okay to handle the anesthesia. Because if my blood pressure drops a certain number, then I'll just have a stroke while I'm under.
So you found tumors in your breast?
Yeah. So the surgery I'm 26 now. So the brain surgery was 6 years ago. I was 20. And then, has it been 2 years now? I think it's like a year and a half or 2 years. I could feel them. Like I always had masses in my breasts, but I never got them checked out. I kind of just like brushed it off. But one of them was starting to get really big, to the point where it was protruding. Like you could see a shadow, and people would even my pornos, like people would even make comments about it sometimes. So it was growing really fast, and my friends urged me to get it checked out. So I finally did. Turns out I have a rare tumor condition. And rare, like most people who have this specific tumor condition are in their 30s or 40s. And it's already, so the fact that I have it at my age makes it even more rare. And I forget what it's called, but this kind of tumor doesn't respond to chemo or radiation. So basically you have to just catch it early, because if ever it turns, then I think I would have like 5 years to live, is what they say. So it was really hard on me mentally, because I was like, can I just go 4 years without something crazy happening? That's why I have so much anxiety about like going to the doctor and things like that, which sucks, because I have to maintain these things. But it's like, I'm like, I don't know if I can handle another like big life altering thing right now.
Yeah.
So, but I got it handled. They said I had a lot of cysts that are benign, that are totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 of them were this kind of tumor. So that's why my boobs look so perky, actually, is because they're filled with masses. The benign cysts are fine, but like that's why they look the way they do.
Oh my God.
But I'm glad that when they removed the tumors, I was so scared that I would have like Franken tits. And I was like, oh God, like my career is on the line here.
Yeah.
But or that they would be like just like really flat or just weird looking. But they turned out fine, thank God.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I had those removed, and that has been my medical journey.
How did you handle that? Like mentally, like how did you?
It was a lot. I think it took me a while after the brain thing to really like be okay and come to terms with everything. But the way that I see it, it really encourages me to live life to the fullest. Because after I got out of like my whole depressive year, I was like, okay, like life is short. I think it's really healthy for people to think about death, because like it makes you appreciate life so much more and have so much gratitude. So I really see life through that lens of like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so grateful for every experience that I have. And then it really pushes me to go after my dreams or like anything I want to do in life. It helps me to not like be too complacent and like, just try, just do it and like have all the experiences, take the trips, make the memories with your friends type of thing. So I think that's my silver lining.
So speaking of experiences, what are your big goals for your career? Anything in particular that like you really want to hit?
I've had so much fun. I've done so many different kinds of things already. I don't know when, but I would love to do a showcase. I see that happening for me. And that'll probably be, I don't have a lot of firsts left. But if I did a showcase, like I haven't really done like a proper gangbang.
Okay.
So I would probably do something.
What is a proper gangbang to you?
Well, I guess it would have to be at least 5 people. I feel like there's debate on what's a gangbang. So I guess like at least 5 people would be like a proper
so have you been with 4 people? 4 guys? Or was it, or 3?
Trying to think. I don't think I have. I don't think, at least not on camera.
Okay. Yeah, on camera is the only thing that counts.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I really have had a proper gangbang.
Okay.
So I think that would be fun. I'm not really into blow bangs personally.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of
I don't
work.
like
it's very sore on your jaw. Oh, no.
Not that much.
Yeah. What is like the most extreme scene you think you've ever done? Or the one that you walked away from the most proud of yourself?
Well, I actually just have a DP that came out. Like anytime I do, that's just wow, the human body,
Yeah.
So I would say my last, or the DP that just got released for Tushy. And then I also love shooting for kink. That's really fun because I like the psychological aspect of things and like being tied up. So anytime I shoot for kink, that's always like a really amazing experience. And then I did a scene in Prague that was probably like maybe my most like sort of taboo thing. I got peed on, which I had never done before. And I don't usually like to do things I've never done for the first time on camera. But I was just like, let me see if I'm into it. You know? And it was super clean. Like it was mostly water. And I had my rules. I was like nothing in my mouth or in my holes, just like pee on me. And so I did that. It was like an anal scene. And then he peed on me at the end. And it just didn't do anything for me. It didn't. Like, it's not like I didn't like it. I didn't get off on it. I was just like, oh, this is kind of whatever. It's kind of a bitch to clean too. So,
So you think you probably wouldn't do it again?
Nah, I don't think so. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah. Maybe if it was like significantly more.
Yeah, I don't know, like what would make me more into it. I love peeing in the shower.
Well, it's just convenient.
It's convenient.
Really.
Like, I guess some people are like, oh, it's so warm. Like, they like that aspect to it. So, I don't know. It's so funny. I never let myself pee in the shower until a few years ago. I don't know why. I thought it was like wrong or something. And then, so I was like, I'm going to try peeing in the shower. And my body, it took, like, I couldn't do it for a while. Like, my body wouldn't let me because it was like, it's not about, you can't pee in the shower. And then I finally overcame it. And now I pee in the shower all the time and I love it.
I think there's like a Seinfeld episode about peeing in the shower. Am I right? Yeah, there's a Seinfeld episode about peeing in the shower. And I pee in the shower because I'm like, convenient. Yeah. The water washes it away. Like pee is actually like for the most part, it's sterile, right?
I guess so.
Like if you get stung by a jellyfish, you like pee on yourself. That's to like,
true. Some people drink pee. Like I think there's like tons of health benefits.
I don't know about that, but not doing that. But
it'll cure any disease.
So like I've always like, I just pee in the shower because it's like easy. Yeah. And then I saw this Seinfeld episode and I was like, I didn't know there was a controversy about peeing in the shower. Yeah. I don't know. Crazy. All right. Well, Scarlett, thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure. I loved all of our non-porno talk.
Yes, me too.
And our porno talk as well.
Yeah.
I do have some questions for you from my Patreon members that we'll do in a separate segment. But for now, can you let everybody know where they can find you online, please?
Yes, you can Google me, Scarlett Alexis. And then my Twitter is Scarlett Alexis with a 3 instead of an S at the end. Instagram is Scarlett Alexis with 3 S's. And my OnlyFans is Scarlett Alexis with 3 X's. Good luck.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and on X at Holly Randall. If you want to support this podcast and watch these interviews live, and of course, get access to these bonus Q&As like we're about to do, send in your own questions. Go to patreon.com/Holly Randall Unfiltered. Go to hollylinks.com for access to all of my platforms. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I will see you next week.